everyone, I'm your host Lady Di, and this is Tattoos Across Texas. This weekend we're in Laredo for Puerto Vida's Tattoo Fest. Let's go check it out. everyone. I'm with the organizer, founder of Por Vida Tattoo Fest, and
Hi.
proud owner of Por Vida Tattoo Shop, correct?
That's right, yeah.
And your name is Gabe
My name's
Rodriguez.
Gabe Rodriguez, yeah, that's me.
Tell us a little bit how you started with your tattoo shop, your career.
I've been tattooing since 1999, I think. I started learning how to tattoo in the late 90s, and then 1999 I did my first tattoo. Well, no, that's not true either. I was actually, and that's funny, we have this conversation with people. They're like, you should start it from the first tattoo you ever did. I'm like, I was 15, that doesn't count, man. But professionally tattooing 1999. I've been tattooing ever since, but we've had our shop for the last, February made 9 years. February made 9 years that we've been around. Por Vida Tattoo Festival has been around for the last 5.
Yeah.
So I was just talking about it with somebody else. It was rough. Like, it's funny because I was the tail end of the old school guys, like the 90s. And at the very beginning, when back in those days, it was like, oh, you want needles? Cool, man. You have to, like, I remember one of my mentors was like, there's a white piece of paper with a whole bunch of numbers, and you had to know what needle groupings were what. And then there was a phone number on the bottom, and you had to call the guy and be like, hey, man, I need some round needles. And he's like, who gave you my number? And it's like, so-and-so gave me your number. And he'd literally like hang up on you, and then you get a call back like, an hour later. Checks out, man. He says he gave you your number. What do you need? And you would order like and those were pre-made.
Oh, wow.
And if you didn't want to do pre-made, which before I had to learn how to make needles, you would have to find the guy who made the loose needles and then make them and put them together. It was a nightmare. So I tell a lot of these guys, all these older guys, that they're super jaded and they hate all the new kids. And I'm like, you have to understand that they're really good 3 years in because they didn't have the obstacles to jump over that we did. But you know what, man? Like, that just makes us a little bit more like seasoned, and it's a little bit more awesome. Like, we both have our place. It's so weird that I'm like, we're the old guys now. It's kind of weird.
You're
man.
grandfathered in, though.
Unfortunately, right?
Well,
yeah.
it can't be a bad thing. I mean, you're doing well for yourself.
It's not. It's cool. I think that I am fine where I'm at, doing the little things that I'm doing in my little city, taking care of my little spot, taking care of my little corner of the world. And I don't worry about anybody else's shit. So it makes me happier that I don't have to worry so much about, I don't have an ego, and I don't have to worry about people like, oh, he's the best. I know I'm not. So it's like, whatever, I'm just very dedicated at what I do.
Yes.
And I try to stay positive when it comes to like.
Yeah, so tell me, what inspired you to start this Por Vida convention? It's fest.
Funny enough, I had a couple of friends that have a shop in the Valley, and I would go to their shows, and I was like, man, I would like to do one of these like in Laredo. There's never been a tattoo show in Laredo. And homeboy pulled me aside and he's like, look, dude, if you're having this idea, other people are having this idea. So you being like the guy in Laredo that's the guy, like you've been around for years, you know everybody, you know everything. Do it before someone else comes along and ruins it. And one of my friends said the best thing. He's like, this is like a thing for Gabe to hang out with all of his friends, and then we just so happen to tattoo
it's a big party
while we're here. And I'm like, yes,
it's a
bro,
good
that's
gathering.
Awesome. So yeah, that's basically how it started. Just me and my wife talking, and she is the one who basically pushes me to do everything the right way. Because of course, guys are really dumb. We're really stupid. So we're just like, oh, let's do this, caveman. And she's like, no, you have to finesse it, friend. You have to do it right. And so, yeah, she's the only reason that we're still around 5 years later. Because
awesome.
if it wasn't for her, I would literally I'd be stuck in a corner and it would be terrible. So, yeah. The one thing I love about the show is a lot of people say it's not corporate whatsoever. So I don't have any rock stars. I don't have any egos. You walk in the doors and you're on the same playing field as everybody else, because everyone here's cool. And I mean, that really, it goes a long way, because you come to our show and it's like you're buddied up next to somebody that does a totally different style of you, and then you start kind of learning stuff, you start talking, and next thing you know, you're friends, and you're like 2 years down the road, you guys want to be next to each other, and I'm like, yeah, it's awesome, man. Like, it's really cool. I have a lot of people who have never been here before. I got the Vegas guys here, and they're amazing, and they're kicking ass, man.
Yes, they
and they're
are.
having fun, and that's all I want, you know? Like, come in, eat good food, drink good coffee, have cold drinks. The people in Laredo are amazing. So, like, they're not gonna haggle with you or just be weird. Like, they're
Yeah.
they came here to get tattooed, like, because they want to get tattooed.
Exactly.
So, everyone's having a good time, man. I'm happy. I want everybody to hang out. So, I will literally, like, walk up to somebody and, like, man, this is really awesome. Do you know so-and-so? And they're like, no. I'm like, let's go and talk to them. And I'll fucking roll them over there. And I'm like, this is so-and-so. This is so-and-so. Y'all are cool. You're about the same kind of people. Or this person knows a lot about, you know, A, B, or C, man. You should totally talk to this person. And then I'll come back like an hour later and they're still sitting there talking. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
And that's what, I mean, for me, that's what makes it all worth it, you know?
It does, and I've seen it firsthand. Like,
It's so weird, right? Yeah,
I
man.
love it. Oh, the whole energy, like you said, the vibe. Everybody's been nice. So you also have a piercer, right? At your
Yeah,
tattoo
we have a
shop?
piercer. Stephanie, she is amazing. So, I mean, when I first started tattooing, I learned how to pierce too because it was just like a necessity. I needed to have both, right? And so I taught my Angie, who tattoos with us now, was my apprentice, and now she's amazing. She's been tattooing for like 2 or 3 years. And I taught Angie how to pierce, and then Angie ends up teaching Stephanie how to pierce. It was just like a long line, right? But
Yeah.
man, like she took off with it. Where I thought I was decent, she's amazing. Like she knows the ins and outs of everything. She's currently trying to do the APP thing, so she can be like super professional, man. And she's got that touch that's like, dude, she's good.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, okay, man, like she's really good. She has like a really fine touch, and it's like, man, badass, dude. So she's doing really good. I think she's been piercing for 2 years now, and yeah, man, she's great.
Yeah, I met her yesterday, and I got
she's-
another piercing, and she's great.
Her personality is where it's at, man, because
Yep.
it's like she makes you feel very comfortable, and you're
She does.
cool, and you get your pierce. She's very knowledgeable about everything, and it's like great, man. Yeah, but I have at the shop. It's me, it's Angie, and it's Steph, and my wife Brenda is now learning how to tattoo, and yeah, man, it's awesome. Like I'm happy. I'm
Yeah.
beyond happy with how everything is, man. Like, you know, no attitudes, no toxic personalities. We're all family. I mean, so our piercer is my wife's best friend, and they've known each other since high school. Angie was my apprentice, but I've known her for like 15 years or
Yeah.
something like. So, you know, she wasn't just some rando off the street. And you know what's funny? I'm gonna give everybody just a little advice, which is funny that we get a lot, is that, you know, if you wanna learn how to tattoo, get tattooed. Everybody everybody has the same question. Like, I want to learn how to tattoo. How do I become an apprentice? Like, you don't, dude. Like, learn how to get tattooed. Like, how are you going to teach somebody? How are you going to teach somebody how to tattoo if what if I can't stand you? What if you're a shitty person? You know, like, how do I know? Get tattooed. You get to know these people.
Right.
And funny enough, Weldon from Mr. Lucky's was like, it's like adopting someone. It's what it is. I mean, you're going to spend 8 to 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day with somebody. You know, make sure it's somebody that you like.
Right.
So it can't just be some random person. And, you know, not saying that that's not a way to do it, but the best way, in my opinion, get tattooed. You
Yeah.
get tattooed by someone you like, and they, you know, they'll sleeve you up, do a bunch of tattoos on your legs or whatever, and you gain a rapport with that person, and
Right.
it's a foot in the door. It's
Yeah.
the easiest way to do it. But of course, nobody wants to do it easy. They want to do it fast. So it's kind of like, I can't help you, man.
Yeah.
So
It's not easy.
no.
From what I've learned from you, from tattoo artists as yourselves. But yeah, I mean, that's good advice. The better outcome they'll have
I
if
think
they
so,
gel
too.
well with someone. Don't just jump into it with anybody.
I mean,
'cause-
imagine if you have to like hang out with somebody. I mean, and funny enough, I was talking about me apprenticing. I had already started learning. I learned my first mentor was a guy from Mexico City. He was this, you know, 6'2" tall, looked like an Indian from Mexico with long dreadlocks. His whole arm was blacked out, and in the late '90s, that was like really weird. And man, he was like he was something else, man. This guy would like drop acid every morning to go to work. Like he was a crazy dude. He listened to like psychedelic trance and shit. And learning how to tattoo from him was like crazy, man, because he was like, you know, learn how to make needles, learn how to do this, learn how to make inks. And I was like 18. I didn't give a shit about any of that. So I didn't pay attention to anything he told me. I was like not taking it seriously. And then having to learn from different mentors over the years was like shit. But the worst guy I ever had, we're still friends to this day, but he was a guy that he would go to lunch and he'd have some wine and get trashed. And I'd be in the middle of doing a tattoo and he'd literally walk up into my booth, he'd kick the trash can, all the trash on the floor, and he'd be like, pick this up, it's super dirty. And he'd walk out and spit on my walls and like all this red juice dripping down. And like the client was like, should I leave? I'm like, it's fine, he's just trashed. I dealt with that for like 5 years. So if I can do that, you know, anybody can do anything, man. I mean, that's how it used to be. And it's not like that anymore, which is, I mean, amazing that people are more respectful. They're more intuitive with like, you know, not being pieces of shit to people. You know, it's great now. And I mean, yeah, we all had our own, like me as an older tattooer had a lot different stuff that I had to deal with, but you know, it made me who I am today, but thankfully nobody has to deal with that anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And then the old tattooers that complain about it, it's like, you know, oh man, they didn't have to do this shit. You don't have to walk to fucking work anymore, bro. There's cars.
Yeah.
You're not riding a bicycle. You're not gonna complain that the bicycles
That's
still
true.
exist. Why are you in a car? Like, it's dumb, Sue. So, yeah, it's just, it's all in the frame, how you frame it in your mind. And, you know, if you're cool, you'll be cool.
So tell me about the printing company, the merch.
Oh yeah,
Let's talk
man.
about that.
So we started the whole company, and she basically took over. She bought an iPad and just started drawing. So I was at the very beginning doing like 90% of the drawings, and now I literally do 10% whenever she doesn't have time.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, can you do this drawing for me? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Everything else is her. It's amazing.
Wow.
But man, she rules. She kicks ass. She made it her own. Her ideas are amazing and very nostalgic. And that's where a lot of our best-selling stuff is. It's like nostalgic, Mexican, homey kind of stuff, and it works.
Yes, and I gotta say that I fell in love with the Freddie Fender t-shirt. Well, I gotta say that I really enjoyed the fest so far. Yeah, well, Gabe, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
It's been a real pleasure being here, and looking forward to the contest and everything else you guys got going. So I wish you the best in the future.
Thank you, I appreciate you. All right.
Thanks.
Nice, man. Bye, guys.
Yay!
Hi, I'm Archangel, and these are my drawings. These are $1, and this guy is $2. I can also do customization. So if you ask me to draw like a specific thing, I can draw it.
Hello, my name is Mason, and I'm also selling art too. So the medium-sized ones like this are $2. The big ones are $3. The small ones are $1, and the stickers are $2.
And hi, I'm Danitza, and we have been selling pictures, but mine already sold out. And I'm going with my brother and with my friend Mason.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.